it seems like a big part of problem here is that many doctors do not recognize those illnesses. They just can't understand that their client is ill. So is there any way to increase awareness among doctors?
This is one of the targets, of the audience targets we want to do it. Again, those illnesses are not local in one organ in the body. They are very, like endometriosis. It starts in the women womb, but it goes also to other places in the body. So it affects all kinds of different places. So one time you go to a gynecologist, and once you go to a gastroenterologist, and then you go to many doctors. So yes, your question is in the place, and this is one of the target audience. We want to raise awareness, yes. Yes?
I want to ask, please, can you tell us about some of the achievements you've made since beginning the organization, whether it is gathering a big database of these records of these women, or passing some laws, or maybe managing to make any changes in terms of the legalization so far?
Not yet. Not yet. Because we shared a lot of time to understand the problem, and even to try to. I know it very well, but it's not enough. It took a lot of time to define the problem in order to explain other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it was very hard to find an organization that will give you a roof to it. And as I said again, our rhythm is very slowly, because we don't have any budgets from one side, and the leading group is very thin. And every time there is some lady that doesn't feel well, so it goes very slowly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How many members do you have in your? How many women are we talking about?
In the leading group, we are 4 women, but in the surrounding, you have like 30 or something. But it depends, because it's very hard for us again to make progress. So sometimes they are occupied with other things as well. But
rephrase my question.
Okay.
How many women do you think the problem concerns? In
as
Israel?
general,
Yes.
as I said, we speak about a family of groups. The main one, the known one, is fibromyalgia. As far as we know, there are like 500,000 people who are ill in Israel. As what they are known, it's very hard also to quantify it. But we assume there are 400,000 women only in this illness. This is also one of the hardships we come across, because it's very hard to diagnose those people, so you don't have any data from one angle. And like when we went like almost 5 years ago, there is in the Sheba, Tel HaShomer Hospital, there is such a unit, it's called Malbam, that they should find all kinds of statistics, and so we were told, your problem doesn't affect so much the population, like hypertension or cardiovascular problems, so we won't make any research of it. Yes, please.
I have 2 questions. First, how is your organization financed? Like, is it totally non-profit and people work like voluntarily?
No, that's the one thing. Since we started the project, and our organization wasn't able to fundraise our project from foundations around the world.
Okay.
We had 2 possibilities: or to do it on our own, or to close it. So we chose the second option, and we said we will try to do it on our own. So we got a permission from the management of the organization to be independent, that we can raise funds, and whatever we need, in order to develop our project.
So actually you have no fund from the government? And from the
No,
state?
no,
Okay.
no,
And then,
no. Another question?
I think this problem is not only
In Israel?
exists in Israel,
It's
like
a-
it exists in everywhere in the world, every country.
We
so-
assume, but we didn't find any research of it. As
So
as
you
you know.
mean-
So it might be in the world also. I will assume it. I am very delicate with my words and I cannot say it for sure again, because since we didn't research it as it should be, and we didn't come across any something, something very that we find something in this country or in that country, we assume the information is very, very limited.
Okay.
But I say again, we assume it. I cannot say it for sure. But according this time, as what we know, this is the situation. Okay.
So you don't know any other organizations which are also committed to these issues in other countries?
No. Normally, an organization is committed for one illness or for some limitation, but not very.
None of this.
Not in this area that you combine women.
That would be something that the student team would need to find out if there are other organizations in the world. That's a Google search.
For instance, there
Shouldn't
is.
take too long.
For instance,
There are a couple of the questions.
yes,
on
I
that.
just want to answer. For instance, in the United States, there is a wonderful organization. It's called VEDA. I mean, it's the abbreviation, which takes care of my mother's illness, but specifically to this illness. But it doesn't go into gender aspects. It doesn't go to social aspects. It does only deals with the medical issues, which is wonderful, and I learned a lot of it. But our project, it's not to limit, it's to spread as much as it can be. In order to give an answer as it should be, you cannot limit yourself.
Okay.
Yes, who
Two more,
asked
two more
again?
questions here.
I'm sorry, I don't remember who raised this finger.
These,
I was like in the, so it's 5 years, right?
Since we
you came.
started.
Have you tried to apply for funds, or have you like got some support maybe from a doctor or some media coverage or anything where you kind of got some?
That's what I come again to the resource problems we in front, that I don't have the time to fund.
So you work also full time and.
No, I need to take care of my mother, which is a full-time work.
Oh yeah.
My mother doesn't go of my home many years. I need to do all the errands, all the shopping, everything outside. I work a little bit, and here and there I make a little bit of this project. So it's very hard to make a progress when you are in such a lack of resources. When I say resources, I mean human resources and budget resources, everything. Yes, who asked also?
How many people are you? I see you found 4 founders, but how many people are you by now? Like helping? Is it like
I said again, the leading group are four women. I'm in those 4 women. One lives not far away from Haifa, one lives next to Tel Aviv, and one lives in Be'er Sheva. So we meet very occasionally.
But don't
Your
you
clients.
Think, but don't you think by
My clients are all over Israel, I believe. All over Israel, because most of the periphery in Israel is the north and the south. The social periphery.
Can I finish my question?
Yes, sorry.
Don't you think you're 4 persons, and I see you written here like interdisciplinary, gender, medicine, law, welfare, economics, health of women, social entrepreneurship, and public policy. Don't you think by doing everything, it absorbs all the resources you try to put in, because you don't focus on like gender at first and then expand on others? Like for me, it
Can
seems
be.
like you try to solve.
If I go to
everything,
the
but you
classic,
can't.
okay, if I go to the classic gender, as far as we know, nothing was done in this subject. When I go to the economics, then the gender prism is very ostracized. So, in order to, I mean, from one point you are right, but in other point, as far as I know, and the leading group, it will be very missed if we'll just will be specified in one point. Because that's the thing.
But
You cannot tear it from this or this or this or
Yeah,
this.
sure,
You have
but-
everything.
But you don't have the resources to do everything. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
but
I mean,
And that's one of the problems that the team will have to deal with.
yeah.
Breaking it down maybe into smaller
yes,
issues.
look something. We give you an open hands to do, because everyone and each of you comes from another country, from
Are
another culture.
are there any other questions? Because we have to wrap it up. Any other questions? Okay, yes.
I was not sure if I was going to ask it, but it looks to me that if you expand it a little more, then it's rare with diseases with minority miut minority,
Yes.
and it's not only women, because I'm sure that there are men poor with those socioeconomic that have rare disease in the same situation exactly.
Yes.
So there are levels of expanding, and
We-
you
we-
really expanded your specific problem, but I think this is the
We
last.
want, if we will
Yeah.
if we will be succeed, it will be also good for men.
Yeah.
We don't say we do it just for women. No,
Mhm.
we try to do it through the gender prism,
Mhm.
because that's the best what we know from our own
Okay.
experience. But our aim is to help also men as well.
Mhm.
That's the thing we say, that in those specific illnesses, since the main percentage are
Is-
women,
yeah.
from one side, the evidence of men are very low, and from other side, the resources that women need to come across in those situations are much more higher,
Mhm.
because in a normal life, a woman is lack of resources, of money. Like in Israel, for the same work, a woman will earn 2/3 of what a man earns for the same work. Almost 70%.
This is worldwide. This is
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's not.
So
It's
if
not
this
specific
lady
to
will
Maybe
Israel.
it's a minority.
So
Yeah.
if this lady, not exactly, the women in Israel are almost 50% of the working market in Israel.
Mm. No,
It's a
in the
global.
population.
Anat, it's a global
Yeah.
problem.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that-
But if
Okay, we're gonna have to stop now. You have a meeting to get to, and we're going to let you think about it for a little bit. And what we're going to be doing for the rest of the day, we'll be continuing the lecture about the homework and the things that we wanted to cover today. After the food break, you will be breaking out into groups. I'm sorry, no. After the food break, you will each be presenting